Hello, we're coming to you again from Stereo Speakers Refurbished to Georgia. We're going to show you some more toys again. This is our classic. Hi there. Welcome again to another quick video. This is Star Wars we have here from the 1970s, and then we've got some 1980s Star Wars merchandise over here. We've got G.I. Joe collectible 1960s Star Wars Wild Wing X-Wings. Over here we've got the 12-inch figures over here. We've got the Star Wars Darth Vader's spaceship over here. We've got the Batmobile. I wanted to show you how great this little wooden case is. This is a wooden storage case that was going to be thrown in a dumpster at a thrift store, and we've salvaged it. We saved it from being destroyed. But it's all real wood. It's made out of pine. Not the kind of thing you want to throw away. And we painted it to match the fireplace in this house. And it's got all the videos here from VHS. You remember VHS? Well, it's coming back again. I mean, people are actually bringing back Back to the Future VHS because Back to the Future is so popular. But we've got a huge collection of VHS we still over here. It's only $1 per movie, a little cheaper than DVD. And then over here we've got wooden carvings of wood here. We'll try to show you, we've got a huge wall here of collectible toys over here. We'll be right back. As we pan over here, we're going to show you some more toys here. We've got a wall of toys. We've got stuff from Star Wars up here on the top. We've got Batman, Forever, 3-inch figures, the 12-inch Star Wars figures, Star Wars collectibles. This is the way we store the toys to sell on eBay with Stereo Speakers Refurbished of Georgia. We don't believe in putting things in boxes, cardboard boxes. That's okay to transport to a show like Comic-Con or Dragon Con, but we love to display all the work that's put into collecting these toys. And you know, they don't make toys like this anymore. This is a toy that was actually from a cereal box, and I believe it was called Spymaster. Very hard to find, but it has binoculars in here. I had this toy, and it's a belt thing like Adam West and Batman, utility belt, and it had spy toys were popular with Mattel, with companies like Mattel had toys like this toy that was called, I mean, there's just so many spy toys and space toys in the 1960s when I grew up. And then there was magic sets. Here's Showstoppers from Mattel, and guns from Star Wars, and cereal boxes. I mean, who gets excited about cereal boxes? The cereal boxes, if you find them today from the 60s and 70s, are worth $300 for a cereal box. But Spymaster was really popular with the kids that had a little light bulb inside it that lit up, and you put this on a utility belt as a child. I had this when I was 5 years old, 1965. So I'll show how old I am. Zeroids toys, Tomb Raider figures, Hot Wheels toys, you name it, we did it. The Star Wars down here, this was all the AT-AT all-terrain vehicle from Empire Strikes Back. Here's some Star Wars over here, more Star Wars collectibles. We get at the Joe Atlanta, which is coming up March 9th and 10th in Atlanta, Georgia, 2019. This is really cool toy. Estes. My cousins had these. They would fire rockets 100 feet in the air or whatever. This thing actually says it flies to 600 feet, but it has a little engine in it. And Estes made these beautiful rockets that they still make today, probably made in China today, but made in Colorado originally, and Boulder, Colorado maybe. But anyways, we're going to show you in a minute what it's like to see our wall rack. We have a very large roof in this building, and we built the toys all the way to the roof. More and more of these racks we build. We get the wood from Home Depot and Lowe's, and we build it out of pine. We don't use particle board. Particle board is too heavy. And if it gets wet, it breaks apart in pieces. It's like cardboard. So we build these wall racks to display the toys because the artwork on these toys is so impressive. I'm going to show you in a minute how. We're going to zoom over here. We're going to show you more about the upper part here. You can see all the toys that go all the way to the ceiling. I mean, this is a lot of toys. And we've got Green Hornet, Zeroids boxes, Star Wars, Transogram, Strange Change Machine. We've got quite an assortment of toys here. We also, in the other room, we have TV sets. Anyways, in a few minutes we're going to get into showing you how easy it is to collect these 12-inch figures of Star Wars and Star Wars collectibles. 12-inch figures are more affordable than the 3-inch figures from the 70s. When Star Wars came out, nobody knew how popular this movie would become, so nobody wanted to make the toys. Kenner was licensed to make the toys, but I actually met the gentleman at I believe it was a toy show in Atlanta, showing you how Kenner made a lot of money selling these, and the demand for the toys was unbelievable. In 1977, the little 3-inch figures, and there are lots of videos on YouTube about Kenner and how Kenner beat Mattel and Hasbro to the punch, and nobody wanted to make the Star Wars toys. And George Lucas came out with a licensing that he would get 15–20% of the money made on the Star Wars toys. So then guess what? After Star Wars, oh my God, it just exploded. Then G.I. Joe got to be 3-inch from the 12-inch dolls. We also have Planet of the Apes here. I don't know if you remember Planet of the Apes with Charlton Heston. This is a really cool 12-inch figure, and we collect these. And we have Princess Leia's hard to find, Luke Skywalker, Stormtroopers over here. You'll see the stuff at Dragon Con, Joe Atlanta, March 9th and 10th in Atlanta, 2019 this year. In a week or 2 weeks from now, Joe Atlanta, I highly recommend comic books and all this collectible stuff. Rooms and rooms full of toys. They have the Batmobile there, Jurassic Park truck there. If you can get to Comic-Con on the West Coast, they probably have tons of this collectible stuff. One year at Comic-Con, they had all the Major Matt Mason toys from Mattel. Major Matt Mason was real popular, and G.I. Joe was extremely popular in the 60s, the 12-inch figures. And then the G.I. Joe went down skies to smaller because G.I. Joe, this is an original G.I. Joe sled from the 60s. You can see it had batteries in it, and it floated on the water. There was a scuba guy, there was a scuba suit and everything with G.I. Joe. And you can see the back of it was all plastic. But G.I. Joe was extremely popular. And then, why did everything go small? Because in order to make these spaceships, you know, can you imagine a 12-inch figure in a spaceship like this from Star Wars? It's too big to make it. We went into that before. It's too heavy, it's too large. The companies couldn't afford it. And then also, I'm going to show you really quickly, we get into movies. This is a DVD. But then we get into things like we sell and buy Laserdisc. What's a Laserdisc? A Laserdisc is a movie that actually was the beginning of DVDs. And the artwork in these Laserdiscs, this is an old Star Wars, kind of hard to find. I've got The Abyss, and I've got, here's this, look at the size of the Laserdisc compared to a DVD. It's giant. It's like a record. But if you find these, buy them. If you can find the hardest part is finding the Laserdisc machine. It's like a giant DVD player that actually does work. I had 3 of them over the years. So I started out with 1, and now I've got 100 of these movies. And I like Laserdisc because there's no commercials, there's no advertising. When you watch Laserdisc, the sound is incredible. I mean, if you have nice giant speakers like we do in our house, home theater with the Laserdisc, it's still kind of fun because, you know, the picture's not as good as Blu-ray, but it's still, what is Laserdisc? Here's an example of what it looks like. We wanted to show you this. Look at how size of that. And it's only 30 minutes, and then you have to flip it over and watch the other side. But Laserdisc was really cool because without Laserdisc, we wouldn't have got it. They never would have invented DVDs. This was invented in the 1970s and 80s. It ran for 20 years with Laserdisc, but you know, with a Laserdisc player going for $1,000, I mean, who can afford $1,000 for a Laserdisc player? VHS came out; it was more affordable. It's like $300 or $400 with VHS players, and you could record movies. This never made it to the general public. Very popular in Japan, but it didn't make it to the general public in America. It was only the rich that bought the Laserdisc movies or rented the movies because you couldn't record on it. You could not make a recording on Laserdisc. But Pioneer, got into this, and Pioneer made a lot of money probably with the Laserdisc movies, and this is a cheaper version, the DVD again. But anyways, we're going to kind of sign off on this video, and we're going to show you, this is a Millennium Falcon that was, we've got 2 or 3 of these, and we got the boxes. I mean, giant toy. I mean, can you imagine this with a 12-inch figure? It'd be so large and so expensive, nobody could afford it, and the companies couldn't even manufacture it with a 12-inch Star Wars figure. So this is the 3.75 or 3-inch Star Wars toys. We'll go inside this, and it had little compartments and everything to put the toys in it. And everybody loved the Star Wars stuff. I mean, I was too old to collect Star Wars. I was joining the Air Force in the 1980s, and I didn't have any friends that collected 3-inch toys. But I know the singer Rick Springfield, he was pretty smart. He went out and bought those Star Wars toys, and he never opened the boxes. That was the key thing. And the parents that opened the boxes and the toys were opened and played with, so nobody kept the cardboard. So it's hard to find the original 1977 Star Wars little 3-inch original 12 figures of Leia and the Stormtrooper and Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker. So anyways, this is an example of $6 Million Man up there, Sizzlers, Action Man, Magic Sets, original G.I. Joe, 1964, Mattel Hot Wheels, original artwork up here, Magic Sets from Mattel called Showstoppers, and then we've got Indiana Jones over here from the early 80s, I believe. The toy figures and Indiana Jones, really cool. There's Star Trek conventions. There's Joe conventions. Also, Joe Atlanta is in Greenville, South Carolina at the end of the year, if you can't make it. But for $5 or so to go to Joe Atlanta, that's where I started collecting a lot of this stuff. I love the Joe Atlanta. I highly recommend it. It's a 3-day convention in Atlanta, Georgia, where I live at. And I also will show you in a few minutes, talk about some magic companies like Houdini Magic is in Las Vegas, but there was other magic companies like that sold magic sets, and magic was real popular in the 60s and 70s, and there were companies that made magic folding suitcases, magic toys. I mean, some of the stuff's unbelievable. We were able to actually get the catalog from some of these companies that made the magic sets, because Mattel and Hasbro would make magic sets, but not like these other companies that made extravagant, huge magic sets for magicians. I loved magic. I loved the cartoons, the animation, the Saturday morning cartoons. I liked collecting toys. I would say most of the toys, though, when I went in the military and I left my parents in New York, who knows, a lot of these toys were probably given away, thrown away. My parents never kept the cardboard boxes, like I said, and I've been trying to hunt down all this stuff on eBay, and the toy shows like Joe Atlanta, and the people have been so nice. Everybody's so respectful and nice to each other, selling the toys and being fair about the prices. At the conventions and the toy shows, you can get much better deals because you don't have to pay the shipping. eBay, Amazon, got to pay the shipping. It costs too much sometimes. I've had people who try to sell me a Star Wars X-Wing fighter that's 3 or 4 or 5 feet long. I can't pay for the shipping with that. It's too expensive. So anyways, we're going to sign off now, but this is an example of all the toys we collect, and we have a lot of stuff and even more stuff. I've got something here I could show real quickly that I bought that was still sealed in the box. This is a G.I. Joe 3-inch figure, but look at the size of this box. Look at the artwork on here. They're going back to the old days when they used to draw and paint artwork. It wasn't photographed. It was to show, you know, in an artwork, this is probably like, you know, Toys R Us selling something like this. But look at all the artwork and the beautiful design and the gorgeous artwork put in here. This wasn't some of it's photographs, but if you want to really impress people, you draw or you paint. And this is the Sigma 6 Cobra G.I. Joe Dragonhawk, which looks like the same thing in Avatar, the same helicopter. But I collected this, and a gentleman sold it to me for, like, let's say $40. If I sold this at a toy show or on eBay, I'd probably sell it for a little more, because I went through the trouble to get it and drive all the way to Atlanta to buy it at the toy show. And the guy was so nice, I gave him deposits to hold it. And then there's things like the toys up here from the 1960s. We have toys that are, this is really old. This is a remake of Ideal Toys. Tippet. Tippet is really old. Look at the picture on here. This is 1964, but this is a 2013 box. So they're reissuing these toys again, like Tip It, Ideal Toys. It's a game, but, you know, people love it. I mean, they still want it. So, you know, that's about it for right now, but we'll be going in and showing you guys the cameras, the stereos soon in the next video.